friend of mine, Mr. Michael Exler from the East Coast Horror Group, Everything Horror. He knows one a good spot to tune in for interviews and for just horror-related news. My man, Mr. Michael Exler, has one of the best websites on the interwebs. Mike, tell him where to go.
Hey, go to eastcoasthorrorgroup.com, also from dustkillcon.com. Check out our work there. But today we're here for the Faces of Jason panel. One of the Jasons will be here shortly, but we're going to go ahead and start without them. Let's introduce CJ Graham and Steve Dash.
Let me tell you something, all right? Listen to me. Quiet. Oh! Listen. When Kane comes, don't fucking applaud. You got me? When they announce him, I want silence, because he's a fucking prima donna. He's not here, and we don't want to put up with that shit. Am I right?
Okay. Everybody happy now? Before we start, I just got to do this, all right?
I thought I was in control.
Oh. Dude, you got to stand up, because you got serious kahunas to wear that outfit. I couldn't do it. I can wear a hockey mask, but I couldn't do that.
All right, guys. Let's just start with an easy one. How did you get involved in your respective films?
I blew the director.
You heard it
No,
here
I
first.
didn't. I'm only kidding. I was a stuntman in New York in 1980, and the stunt coordinator on this film, Friday the 13th Part 2, which originally was called Jason. And he was working on the film, and the guy that they originally hired to play Jason was a guy named Warrington Gillette. And Warrington Gillette claimed that he could do his own stunts, and that's why they hired him. But when he got on set, he was afraid to go through the window. So they had to build a scaffold to slide him through the window, and they knew they needed a stunt guy right away. So that's how I got the job. Cliff called me, and he said, listen, he said, we're doing this film, Jason, and we need a guy to play Jason. I said, holy shit, I got the lead role in the film. So I said, really? He said, yeah, because I had just started out in the business. And I went to Kane, Connecticut, and I went before the producer and the director, Steve Miner, and Dennis Murphy, who was the producer, and I didn't know. They had shot some stuff running through the woods and stuff, so they had to match the costume. So they wanted to make sure that I was the right size and everything. So they said, they looked me up and down, they said, okay, Cliff. Cliff was the stunt coordinator. They said, take him to wardrobe, see if the costume fits. He says, okay. We went in there, we put everything on, and I come out, and they said, wow, he looks good. They said, get the bag. I said, what do you mean the bag? What bag? He said, well, I forgot to tell you. He said, there's a bag over your head. And I said, what do you mean there's a bag over my head? He says, yeah, because at the end of the movie, they take the bag off, and then there's this hideous face of this guy, Jason, that's been sleeping in the water for 30 years. I says, you kidding me? He says, no. I said, so nobody sees my face? He says, no. He says, you got a bag on. I said, all right. I said, well, let me see the script. He says, you got no lines. I says, I got no lines. You mean I'm the lead role in the film and I got no lines? And I said, what do I do? He says, all you're doing is killing kids that are having sex. I said, I'll take the job. And that's how I got the job.
Do we still have time? Okay.
Top this, buddy, I'll tell you what.
Now, mine's a little more Cinderella, to be quite honest. I was just having a conversation in back. I ran a nightclub in LA. I was a general manager. And it just happened we had a hypnotist show on Thursdays, and they wanted to film it, very similar to what a lot of you are doing out there. And they said, well, let's do a scene where they are scared, the subject's on stage. The special effects people shooting it happened to be the ones from part 4 and said, well, let's put CJ, his big ass, in the Jason wardrobe and the hockey mask, and let's have him come through the screen, like behind us. And I did. And as a result, the figure that stood in front of everybody and scared half the audience, he kept saying, we're going to cast you, we're going to cast you. And of course, I'm like, yeah, right, really? Well, lo and behold, several months later, a couple months, I'm meeting with Frank Mancuso Jr. at Paramount Studios. Originally, as some of you may know, they had cast a gentleman for Jason. And he had done 1 or 2 dailies. In fact, there's still a scene in there which is actually the other person that played Jason in part 6. And he didn't come over the screen as they had anticipated. That daily, it kind of shows you what your character is going to look like. It just didn't resonate well. So on a Friday, they called me back in after 2 interviews and said, you're going to Atlanta, Georgia. On Monday, I was on a plane. And the rest is truly history. So, and I'm here with you 30 years later. Thank you.
CJ, we were talking backstage, and I can pose this question now to both of you guys. When you were making the film, did you ever think 30 years later that you would be talking about these respective films of yours in front of Pat's house?
Well, I'm going to start this question because the last one took too long.
He's such a jerk. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me.
Actually, neither of us would be here if it wasn't for you. Thank you. So, had no idea. 30 years later. How long is yours? How many years? Mine's
36.
Amazing. Longevity. If you take a look at the brand, the iconic brand that's become with the Jason, the hockey mask, or the people that wear bags, the point is that... Let's just have this conversation. Everybody knows Tom Cruise, but you know, it's crazy because if you start talking about a hockey mask, Jason, it's just as an iconic brand in the world as an A-lister as Tom Cruise. I'm honored to be 30 years later thought of and still sought out for autographs from little people that are going to be Jason in 2040 to folks your age and some of your parents. Go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
Okay, sweetheart. Did you know he was gay, by the way?
He would know. Remember how he got the job?
He's such a stinker. When I shot the film, you got to remember, it was a low-budget film. I think it was a $900,000 amount put on the film when we shot it. And I shot it, and I was a working actor at the time as well. I was the guy that acted and did stunts, and I stunt doubled a lot of people. And it was a low-budget film. We stayed in the camp with no heat in the cabins and stuff. It was a tough shoot. I got hurt. My ribs were busted. I got cut. A lot of shit went on. I did all my own stunts, not like these guys that with the fucking magical flying through the air shit. You know?
Oh, that wasn't me.
8 feet 3, they're flying, they're doing, who cares about that? But at any rate, I did my own stuff, so it was a tough shoot. And just prior to the end of the film, my agent called me and says, listen, we got a job for you on Guiding Light. I said, okay, great. I'm going to wrap on this film, and I'm going to go right to work. So I went on to Guiding Light, and when they called me to do part 3, they wanted me to be Jason in part 3, I said, I don't want to do it. I'm working on Guiding Light. What do I want to do that piece of shit for again? Who knew? Seriously, who knew 36 years later that I'm still signing autographs, meeting great fans. You guys are just the best. Who knew what it was going to be? You know, I turned it down. If I didn't turn it down, Brooker would have never got the job. This guy wouldn't have got a job. Kane wouldn't have got it. I would have been the Jason in all the film, but I turned it down. Had I known then what I know now, I would have never turned it down. But that's what happened. But after 36 years, I thank you all so much, you know. And that it's been an unbelievable memory for me.
So, what challenges did you both face being a killer that didn't speak? You weren't able to really have any emotions other than your actions. Talk about the challenges of that.
Well, I mean, I'll go first because I was before him. Like, I give a shit. I'm going first anyway. I'm older than him. The challenges that I faced, well, it started out with the shoes. I told you they shot stuff before I got there. And Warrington Gillette was like a size 9.5. And I'm 10.5. And when I put the shoes on, they didn't fit. And they said to me, if the shoes don't fit, you ain't working. So I squeezed my feet into the shoes. I shot for 6 weeks with these shoes on that were killing me. The second thing was the bag. I had the bag over my head. And what happened when I ran through the woods, and I wore an eye patch for 3 weeks prior to shooting to get used to working with one eye. And when I put the bag on, the bag would flop. And when I was running in the woods, I would run into trees. It was really difficult. So they put double-faced tape on my eye to hold the bag closed so I could see where I was going with the peripheral vision. And as a result, after 3 weeks of shooting, I developed burns on my face from taking the tape on and off. And I really believe that was the reason why they went to the hockey mask after part 2, because of the trouble that I had with the bag.
Because you whined so damn much. What was the question? I forgot.
The challenges you face.
Challenges. Picking up his mess.
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Wait till Kane gets here and we start ragging on his tiny ass, okay? Anyway, my challenges, was more importantly trying to figure out how to act. If you think about it, it's very easy to act when you're speaking to a crowd and show emotion. Get pissed! Watch people jump and stuff. That's easy. That's the easiest part. Stand there and walk out.
Is this a physical demonstration of what?
To instill fear takes a little more than just yelling, screaming, raising your eyebrows. You don't get to do that, so everything is in your physical characteristics. That's your challenge, because you just can't walk around like a frog on a polo stick acting bad. Either you've got it, the presence, or you don't. It does bring a challenge to the screen. And for you, the guest, to actually feel it when you're watching it on the other side in the convenience of your home or the theater. So the challenges were really projecting anger, frustration, curiosity, without overplaying it like you're on stage play, which is a completely different type of acting. So it was a challenge, but I think we all did a good job of projecting of what our image was and carried it through all the way through the last Jasons.
I did a good job. I don't know what you did, but I didn't see your movie. The first time I had an experience with emotion was when I was in Jason's lair, and Amy said, "Mommy's talking to you." And I tilted my head like, I thought that was, and that was just a normal thing to do. It wasn't anything that I planned. And all the stuff, like CJ says, it's as you're working and they tell you what the situation is, it's your body. Your body is really supposed to reflect what's happening. And almost all the guys really that played the Jason character, they did that, and like they got a video game out now where Kane does me in the video game. Oh, here he comes, watch. Quiet.
Yeah, okay, be quiet. That had to be Dash's idea.
My brother from another mother, Mr. Kane Hodder.
Didn't I tell you not to do nothing? Didn't I tell you not to do nothing? God damn it. Thanks for showing up.
Oh, stop it. I had a line.
25 after 3. What do you think?
Mr. Hodder. Could I sit in the middle to break these two girls up?
Do I have to turn it on? Or?
You have to work.
I'm going to sit a little further away from Dash.
You want to ride the
because
pony?
He gets a little handsy.
What did he say about the movie earlier?
I hate both of these guys.
You missed the BJ part.
We gotta start all over again.
Can we get more feedback, please?
All right, who's scared of these guys now after this? Joke.
All right, so Kane, these guys told us how they got involved in their film. How did you get involved taking over the role of Jason after?
Tell the truth, he stole it from me.
I did. I actually thought CJ did a very good job. I'm not kissing his ass because you guys know I don't do that. I say what I mean. I think he did a great job. I was just very happy to have been put in the position where John Beekler, who I had done a movie with the year before called Prison, I had done a big makeup. And Beekler said he wanted me to play Jason. I said, well, what about the guy that just did it? He did pretty good. And he said, well, he agreed, but he just wanted me to do it. So he pushed for me, and that's how I got it. I did a screen test in a version of the outfit, and just to convince, Paramount that I would be okay, and they went ahead with it. And then, fortunately, I did the next three after that.
Did a good job, huh, folks? Seriously.
You both had obviously a lot of makeup work done. Talk about how that went, and also when you had the hockey mask on, did you have the makeup on, or was that just for the scenes where you didn't have the mask on?
Before you answer the question, he was complaining about his eyelid with the tape on it in the bag.
Oh, God.
Go ahead
His
and answer.
fucking makeup took all of 20 seconds. Good. All right.
Blow me.
A sack. I loved it, though. It was very effective because it wasn't overdone. I think he did a good job.
Just so you all know, I'm the real Jason.
That's how he signs everything, so he's not kidding.
And his car title the same way, the real Jason. You know what, when I did it, the opening of my scene, you see a lot of makeup, prosthetics. It took several hours to get into the character with that. Once we got past the maggots, at that point the hockey mask was put back on, I got to cheat. I got to just have the face piece cut out. They blackened out one eye with some grease, and it was a lot more simpler, and it was maybe an hour to get prepped and ready to go in wardrobe, and I was on scene. Kane is the one that's going to tell you about more of the experiences because he went through a full body suit. So.
He's such a suck-up. I mean, really,
Friend.
just sucking up. God damn it. Why is he sucking? You're always yelling over, hey, Siege, Siege.
Because
Hey, Siege.
I hope I don't get that cranky when I'm that fucking old. It's just an age thing. Part 7, I had full makeup, head to toe, every shot of the movie, even with the hockey mask on, because part of it was missing, and you could see the teeth and everything. So that was difficult, going through the makeup process every day, and then doing a lot of stunts too. Part 8, much easier. I just had the head on with an open face, hockey mask over it. Jason Goes to Hell, again, full body makeup, but what was hard about that one was that in the previous films, I could take the hockey mask off. Even if I had makeup on my face, if I could take the hockey mask off between shots, I could catch my breath better. Jason Goes to Hell, the hockey mask was built into the makeup, so much more uncomfortable and hard to work in. Again, full body latex suit. And then Jason X, other than the Uber Jason look, which was, a full body thing, it was probably the easiest along with Part 8 as far as comfort. But, it completely varied. And I always thought, as a fan of the movies, it was odd that Jason, his look changed so dramatically from movie to movie, because each successive director or makeup effects person would have their own ideas about Jason, so they wouldn't care about previous ones, which I always thought was a little weird, but, it worked out.
To go along with that, Steve, being the first Jason, even though someone else claims that the real Jason,
Thank you very much.
Talk about
No,
the
he didn't say first, yes, he said real.
real.
Yeah. First, Jason was on screen, what are we saying, 11 seconds? And has so much merchandise. And so, I guess he's smart.
He sells ketchup. He sells hot sauce. He's got soup underneath the counter there. You think it was a goddamn deli? I'm serious. He's got more shit than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
He really does. I gotta ask
What
you
was the
guys.
question? I was getting some question.
Oh, sorry.
Wait a minute.
See what the
What was
old
the
age
question?
does to
I just wanted to
fucking
get your
brain.
thoughts on the progression of the character that you started.
It's amazing. Like I said earlier, before Kane came, I turned down 3, and whoever thought that this thing would happen? I mean, it's mind-boggling. All the horror film. I mean, you can. I mean, I think the only thing that kept going besides Friday, I think, is Frankenstein. Am I right? I mean, other than that, I mean, no other film has had advantage, so to speak, than the Friday films. And all the guys that played Jason, and I gotta, seriously, we're friends. I can't believe that this thing is going on as long as it's going on. I retired 2 years ago and said I wasn't going to do conventions anymore. And I got emails and fans and said, please come back, or we want to see you. I can't believe that it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's phenomenal. It really is. The franchise is an unbelievable franchise.
And it's been very good to us. I mean, we get paid to sign our name, which
You do?
I never expected in a million years, being a stunt person. I never expected any kind of notoriety. So I think I really end up appreciating it more. And when people tell you stories of their lives, that something about the film was meaningful to them in their lives, that's amazing. I don't know, is Kane in here? There's a young guy
memory lapse.
whose name is Kane. Where is he? Oh, right there, yeah. He's in the red right there. Now, how much of an honor is it that someone has a kid and they name them after you? That's incredible for me. I never thought,
I know a lot of guys named Steve.
They're all incarcerated. But he was named after me, and I think that's very cool.
I feel sorry for you, kid.
Kane, where are you? Put your hand up. I want you to do a DNA after this when you're done. I have reservations. Don't count it out, but I got reservations, all right?
Mr. Hodder, you said that you had a question
For these guys, and I've never asked you this, and I'm not even sure if you can answer, but someone found it interesting enough to ask me back a couple conventions ago, what was the very first shot you ever did as Jason? Do you know what it is?
I do, because of being inexperienced and new kid on the block. My very first shot with Tom McLaughlin was stepping into the screen, 45-degree angle where you see the side of my hood, the mask, and the motorhome bouncing up and down, and I turned and walked towards it. I know the exact first time I put the mask on and stepped into the shot.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Because for me, you guys obviously know that films are not shot chronologically. They're shot in completely different order than they're viewed. And my first shot as Jason was where Tina is having a flashback or a vision, I guess it is, of me killing Bill Butler, who played Michael. It was his birthday that they were celebrating, in the kitchen. And it was her vision of him dying, which didn't really happen, but that's what she saw. That was the very first thing I ever did with a hockey mask on. And for me, that's a pretty amazing memory to have. I think, just to know that, maybe not so much with you because it wasn't such an established character.
You got a bag on his head.
But by the time
But I can
CJ
tell you
died-
what my first shot was.
Uh-oh.
My first shot was they were shooting at night, and it was when she runs to the Volkswagen. She jumps in, and I come up in the window. Well, there was a stunt with that. The stunt is that actually the car set up on a bit of a hill, about 8 feet elevated. So what we did, we put boxes down on the bottom of the hill. She opens the door, hits me, I go backwards down, and I land in the boxes.
Right.
Well, I overshot it. And when I went back and I landed, I banged my head on the ground and knocked myself out.
Welcome to Friday the 13th.
Swear to God, everybody's looking at me and I'm going, where's the door? What happened? Overshot them backwards because I went backwards on it. That's my first shot.
So, CJ, and when you killed the sheriff by bending him over backwards, talk about how that was filmed.
It was a good stunt. Michael Nomad did my stunt. He was my stunt coordinator. And two bodies. One, there's a hole, and one person is dug in the hole standing up with their stomach bent over on the ground. The other person is in the hole in reverse. So that means their face is down and their butt and their legs are out. They attach the clothes, and then the other person lays back on the other person. So done very good, as a matter of fact. And I think it was, we all have favorite kills. It was probably my favorite kill and uniqueness. But I think the cool part about it was just the creativity, because we didn't have the wires and all those type of things we have today in the special effects. So everything had to be done creativity to success. And I think it worked.
It's a great shot because you can see the victim's legs moving and his upper body, and you're like, wait a minute, I expected half of him to be a dummy.
It's people.
Yeah, very good.
So, Kane, you've killed a lot of people in films. One of them I'd like to talk about that you worked with.
Most murders on film than any actor in history is what I maintain. I don't think anybody has done that. That's good or what.
One in particular from the last Jason that you were in was David Cronenberg. Talk about working with him.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm a fan of his and was happy that he was in the film. Jim Isaac was good buddies with him. He directed Jason X. Unfortunately died recently, or fairly recently, and but Cronenberg is a legend, and I get to kill him. That's pretty cool. Even though it wasn't a hands-on kill, it was still because of something I did. I wish it had been something directly involved. Just like in Jason Goes to Hell, there's two famous DJs from LA, DJs if you still call them that, Mark and Brian. They have a show on every morning, kind of like Stern had, and they wanted to be in Jason Goes to Hell, so they were cast, and they are victims of Jason's wrath, but not at my hands. It's when the evil is in somebody else and they get killed by that person. So they were like, well, technically Jason victim, but Kane didn't kill us, so they were really bummed out about it. And I understand the same thing. I wish I could have killed Cronenberg with my bare hands.
And
It's
CJ,
always better.
You also killed another famous person at that time was Horshack from Welcome Back, Goddard. Talk about working with him.
It was enjoyable, watching those shows back in the early 70s. The interesting thing, I wish in today's world, some of the scenes that were cut out back in '86 would be acceptable. And in those days, they didn't save the tape that hit the floor in cases. But when that shot was done, when the heart came out, you see a snapshot, but they actually had the blood being pumped out of the heart as part of the scene, which if we'd have saved all that tape in those days, I'm sure Tom McLaughlin would put it together and there'd be an extended version, which I expect one day will come out with probably the series that Kane took forward as a result of the way technology has shifted over the years.
Yeah, I mean, Part 7 was so cut. Every single kill I did ended up like CJ's talking about, where they cut out the most graphic part of it. It was just the worst timing. So that footage existed, but they never anticipated using it, like he said. So they didn't do anything with it. They didn't sweeten it, as they call it. They didn't color correct it. The time code is still on it at the bottom, and it's really poor quality. But I've seen it, and every single kill in The New Blood is completely gone and doesn't really exist. They kind of put some of it in the DVD, but it's such poor quality that it just doesn't feel the same. And it was just frustrating, especially for the makeup effects people. They put their heart and soul into making all these deaths look amazing, and then it's cut out of the film and never used. Kind of a waste of time, but in particular when I grabbed the guy's head outside the van and crush it down. It was so amazing when we did it because it was a prosthetic head, of course. The eyeball popped out. I got it down to like the size of a softball. And it looked so good when I saw it in dailies. And then it just never made the movie. It's frustrating because sometimes that happens with stunts too. You'll do a very difficult stunt, and then when you see it on the movie, somehow the way it was shot doesn't do it justice. And also, vice versa, sometimes things look spectacular and you're like, wow, that looked better than it really was. So then you don't mind, but if you do something dangerous and then it's not very good on film, it's kind of frustrating too.
Now, other than your own performances of Jason, do you have an actor that you really enjoyed watching in the movie other than yourself play Jason?
As Jason?
No.
How did we not know that was coming? I personally, and again, you can believe me because I'm saying it, not because here. I think CJ did a great job as the character because most guys, once they had the hockey mask on, tended to overact. And that's a very fine line to walk. With the mask on, there's no expression whatsoever, of course, but it's hard to get across being imposing without your voice or your face. So
Try a bag.
yeah.
So if you'd have been on time, I said that to the audience because the question was, and I actually stood up and walked towards it expressing exactly what you just said about the challenges of wearing the hockey mask. My answer
That
would be,
wasn't the question. The question was,
question was
who do you
who's the
think
best?
did the best job?
hey, if you'd have been on time,
I
you'd
mean,
have heard
it's
the
easy
answer.
who did the best job. God. There's no question about who did the best job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Is there any questions?
Yeah, do we have any questions from the audience?
First of all, thank you guys for coming out here. It means a lot to everybody here. My question is, and be honest, does it piss you off when A-listers like Tom Cruise get all special treatment and everything while you guys have been doing this whole gimmick for 30 years and you guys continue to get the love of the fans here?
Nothing is better than the Friday the 13th fans. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't care what you say. It's not the fans of Friday the 13th, and these guys will agree with me. They treat us better. I don't care about Tom Cruise. The Friday fans are the best fans in the world.
No, that really is true. You guys you make us feel like, somebody like a big shot. And for those, none of us, I don't think, ever expected to ever sign an autograph. When we went into this business, there are a lot of people that go into this business because they want to be famous. We did not do that. We went in because we enjoyed what we were doing. So the fact that we are asked to sign our names, I still think is an honor, and I'm sure that's how we all feel.
And I didn't know about autographs, to be honest with you, until 25 years after the film was done. When they wrote the first book, The Making of Friday the 13th, David Grove wrote the book. And they called me and they said, if I wanted to do an interview, and I didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. And then I found out at that time that there were these conventions and there were fans, and I was shocked. And that was I guess I've been doing about 11 years now. I've been doing these.
And someone else used to do.
Yeah, the other guy was saying he had all my kills and he did everything and he was taking credit for everything I did.
Which
in
is
the
why he
film.
signs the real Jason.
And I
Has
got
nothing to do
to
with
tell you,
anything else.
and Kane and CJ will tell you, as a stuntman, let me tell you, being a stuntman is an art. Not everybody can do stunts, and when somebody claims that they did your work, that pisses you off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like an artist that paints a painting and somebody forges it. I mean, he was going around wearing Gillette, saying that he did all these kills and everything, and the guy was only in one scene in the movie, and he had to be pushed through a window. So I was very angry about it. But I want to tell you something. The fans, all of you, and thousands of other fans, when the book came out, were very hostile to him and were very warm to me. And I got to tell you, when you go back to your question about because these Tom Cruise and these guys get it, let me tell you, it was amazing to me how many people cared about what I did. Cared about what I did as a stuntman. And I've done some 40 films as a stunt guy, you know, and I can tell you, I appreciate it tremendously.
As far as me, the one thing I can say that it's a pleasure is I can honestly say I did all my own stunts, period, as three of us can say that. And it's nice to be able to do your own stunts. Tom Cruise, his career is amazing, period. I couldn't even imagine what he's done or where he's at today, not knowing that world. But he also does quite a few of his stunts nowadays. In fact, I think he gets in trouble all the time because he wants to participate in those stunts and could get hurt. But not knowing that world, look, I'm not going to take credit away from anybody at the end of the day. I'm happy where I'm at, I'm blessed, I appreciate everything over the last 30 years, and I think I speak for all of us. We've got an iconic brand that'll be around in 50 years. Most actors don't make it through 50 years, and even the greatness of the Harry Fondas, etc., they go away. But Jason will live on because of the character of the brand that it's become. In 2015, 2075, I'll be dead, really dead.
That's absolutely right. You know, I just moved to Florida, and I became a member in a golf course and stuff. And somebody, as soon as somebody says, "You a Jason?" The name Jason, that in itself is incredible. So, screw Cruise.
All right, who else has a question?
Wait, before you go on,
All right.
a couple things I want to say. First of all, I've done a lot of big action films doing stunts, and I remember watching an interview of a famous actor who does a lot of action films, and we were watching the interview, and he said about doing all his stunts in the movie, and I'm sitting with the guy who did all the stunts, and I said, "Well, how's that make you feel?" And he said, "It's part of the job." So the guy was taking credit for all these stunts that this guy did, and he was acting like he had done it himself. And being a gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name, Bruce Willis, because that would be weird. But some people do take credit for things that other people have done, and it's a little bit, you know, insulting when you put your life on the line for somebody and they take credit for it.
All right, put your hands up if you have a question for these guys.
Wait, one more thing just came to mind. Sorry, because of what Steve said. Sorry.
What a pain in the ass.
I know.
I swear to God. Gee,
Talking about how good the Friday fans are, it's also humbling. Recently, I've met some younger horror fans that didn't grow up with the movies. And I was talking to them away from the convention somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and I was saying, "So, you know the Friday the 13th films?" I wasn't trying to, promote myself, but I was just quizzing them. And they said, "Yeah, I think we've heard of it." They were like 14, 15, something like that. And I said, "What was the name of the character in the Friday films that killed everybody?" And they go, Chucky? And they weren't trying to be funny. They were honestly not sure because they didn't grow up with it. So, at the same time as feeling honored by people like you guys, we also still get humbled by people that have no idea what we do. So.
All right, am I good, Kane?
Unless I think of something.
All right, who else has a question?
no, wait a minute, I got something else.
Hi, this is a little off topic. Me and my buddy have
9
been
inches.
friends for like 14 years. We just turned 22 today. I was wondering if I could get you guys to say happy birthday to him.
No.
Happy birthday, first of all. And that was an interesting year for me, too, which nobody gives a shit about. But when I was 22, I got burned. doing a fire stunt and spent 6 months in the hospital. So watch your back.
Happy birthday.
Wow, you took all that time to say happy birthday to you. You guys getting married? It's okay, I'm just asking.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Hallelujah. Happy birthday, young man.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for all 3 films. Awesome, of course. But my question is,
All 3 films.
well, what I mean is, me and
Now
Jason,
you did it.
all the
Here we go.
I know, I pissed them off.
CJ did 1, Steve did 1, and I
Here
did
we
No, I
go.
did 4. I did 4, goddammit.
Yeah.
I did 4. 2, 3, 4 in the final chapter. I was in it. They used likeness of me. You're not the only guy who did 4, you pain in the ass. I did 4, goddammit.
You get paid for all those?
You're damn right. I got residuals. 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents.
It's the point. He was in 4 of them.
I was wondering if there's like a story that you guys could tell us from behind the scenes that happened during any of your shoots that, you know, kind of still you remember that maybe, I know we haven't heard before or something that, you know, happened on set. Just wonder if you had something.
I mean, everything happened. I mean, while I was shooting, Cliff Cudney was the stunt coordinator on the show, and the girl that played Kirsten, her name is Kirsten. I can't remember. She came out of the lake naked. You know who I'm talking about? I don't remember her name in the film, but she was a jogger. She was always concerned that her body was good. In fact, when she shot the scene where she came out of the lake with no clothes on, they wanted to have a closed set, and she said, no, that's fine. She didn't care that everybody was there. This girl would jog every morning, like 6, 7, 8 miles. She would come back to the trailer where we were eating, and this is no exaggeration, she would eat 2 dozen eggs. And everybody, that was the talk of the whole set. There she goes eating 2 dozen eggs again. And she had the guy cook her 2 dozen eggs. It was the most humble, and she was thin as a rail. She's making appearances now. You gotta go see her. She's skinny as hell.
I think you got to remember, all of us, most of us, shot at night. Sun went down, we got up. Sun came up. You know, we hang out in the pool at the hotel and sleep all day long.
You stayed at a hotel?
We had
A
heat.
hotel?
We had heat too, with electricity.
Hotel? We were in a camp. It was freaking freezing.
You didn't get a good contract. Anyway, so I think every one of us has experiences. I think, you know, there's nothing that's going to be abnormal that somebody would pop up with, but if you think about
You
it,
stay in a hotel too? Jesus.
so
I had an apartment in Toronto for
See?
Jason X for 3 months. Beautiful apartment.
I want to tell you, I got so screwed on
that's
this
why you got 2
film.
cents, 4 cents, and 6 cents, okay? So, yeah, we all did something different, but it was mostly daytime, so you got to think about how we were working at night. So it was kind of abnormal for us.
I mean, I've told stories, you know, you're probably sick of them, like Part 7, going from the set through the woods back to the trailers on a path, 2 o'clock in the morning, nobody there.
Don't tell a story from every freaking movie. Just
No,
tell
I
one
won't.
story.
I'm sorry, I did more than one.
Just tell one. Just tell one.
If you let me tell it,
Go ahead.
I'm walking on the path at 2 o'clock in the morning, nobody's around.
Oh, I heard that story.
I know. Somebody's walking towards me. I apologize if you have heard it, but I didn't recognize him as someone from the crew. So I stopped. I still had the hockey mask on because it was cold out. And I stopped and stared at him. And he uttered, I believe, the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Basically, you remember what I look like. And he said, oh, excuse me, are you with the movie? So,
Back to your Tom Cruise question.
of course, my immediate thought is, I'm fucking with you now. So I stared at him, I did a little head cock and some breathing, and you are with the movie, right? And I lunged at him and he took off, and the next day, Beefler, the director, says, you know, that local cop never showed up on the set last night. I have no idea. You've heard that one probably before, but it's true.
Out of all your,
What's your name?
I'm done.
Doug? How the hell are you,
Oh,
Doug?
pretty good.
Good. Speak up. Pull the mic up there. Pull it up. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I got you. Go ahead.
I was just curious, what was your favorite kill in your genre of movie?
I know his, and he knows mine. His is wheelchair backwards down the stairs.
His is sleeping bag.
This is sleeping bag. Mine is wheelchair down the stairs backwards with a machete in the head. In the head.
It's each.
I got a brick house.
The back bend.
Yeah.
Break it. We know each other's because, but I will tell you, each one is different. If you think about it, when Kane killed somebody in a sleep bag, just the power, going back to before Kane came up, the power it took to do that, theoretically fucks with your mind. But if you think about breaking somebody's back, another form of execution, putting a machete in somebody's head, I mean, they're all different psychologically. They're all cool, but they're all different.
Everybody remembers wheelchair down the stairs backwards? Well, let me just say this about that, and I'm not going to make a long story short. That was a stunt that was performed by a guy named Tony Ferrantino. Tony Ferrantino was a stunt guy. His brother was James Ferrantino, the actor. And that stunt took about 2 weeks to set up with the weights in the bottom of the wheelchair and running a line down the stairs and then doing it in the rain. And we did it in one shot. And we didn't have to do it twice. It was a great stunt. Throwing the bag against the tree was bullshit. You know what I
I killed
mean? I
somebody
mean, and
with
being
something that's
underwater
not a
with a
weapon.
chain on your neck, who cares? You know.
Okay, sackhead.
Potato sackhead, get it right.
But by the way, I wore that bag and it really messed my hair up.
Oh, I'm sure it did, blow dry. So, out of respect for CJ's backbending kill, I don't even know if I told you this, CJ. You know, I've been doing the motion capture for Jason for the Friday the 13th game, which is coming out soon. But
And he runs like himself, not like me when he puts
I don't
the bag
run.
on that.
You know
I
I
know,
don't
you
run.
walk around, they know it's you, not me.
I know. So there's a kill in the game that's very similar to the backbend thing. I put somebody against the wall though, and I bend them backwards that way with my foot and break them in half backwards. So that was an homage to that kill.
Did you do wheelchair down the stairs back?
No, that was too difficult.
Tough stunt.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You have a good time? Everybody stand up. Let's give a round of applause for Steve Dash and Kane Hodder.